starting now. And that should boot in the recording. Yep, there it goes. All right. So as far as I know, Al's wrapping up work, so we should be here in probably like 15, 20 minutes. Tara was in another session, so that's all, probably also like another like 15, 20 minutes maybe. Could be up to like an hour. I don't know when her session runs to. I'm going to go ahead and grab dinner because I made food. I put it on a plate. I put a drink in a cup, and then I ran over here and forgot all my food. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that now.
Okay, I'll be here. Hello?
Hello?
Ace stepped away for a bit to get his food.
Oh, okay. I might do the same if we're still waiting on everyone.
Yeah, may as well.
Yep.
Greetings, Tara.
She stepped away to get some food like you did.
Oh, just missed each other.
That is the case, but at least everyone will have something to eat and nobody will be grumpy and hungry.
Yeah. Let's see, what was I doing? Stuff. Stuff and things and things and stuff. One of these days, I was thinking about just like throwing in the tag of like Spanish because like you can tag in different languages for like what the primary talk of what the stream is, and I was thinking about like just like throwing in like something random like a Russian one of these days and seeing what happens.
That would be your decision.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully you'll finally get answers today because this is where I was hoping to get you guys to for a lot of the big stuff.
That'll be nice.
Yeah. Assuming basing off of time schedules and how this normally works, whenever he says he's dropping up to set, he's probably driving home at the moment. He's grabbing dinner. So we should hopefully be able to start at 8:45, though it might take him a little bit longer for the traffic, so might be 10.
We'll see. So, fun fact, in The Witcher, they don't use consistent spelling for Gwent.
Oh, why though? Isn't that like the only game? One of the only games, something like that?
In the quest Gwent Skelligeil, the description says Gwent. Gwent is played
Wow.
Gwint instead of Gwent.
Hey guys.
Oh, hey, Aaron.
Yeah. Woo! Good day.
I'm just double checking like all the stats and whatnot to make sure that like nothing crashes during stream. Because we're having tech difficulties during the start, where my computer decided that the virtual connection was what it wanted to try and port forward through. So it was port forwarding to itself basically, and it took me forever to figure that out.
Cool. So we have not logged in yet?
You can log in. I got it all fixed. Like I just had to disable the virtual machine.
Okay.
Right now, I'm gonna make sure that like nothing else is gonna go wrong. Like we're getting pretty good average time of render. We got plenty of space. Like it's telling me that it's not gonna be full until like I don't know 6 days from now. CPU usage is pretty good. I'm getting a pretty good output of data and all that stuff, which is pretty good.
So we had a little bit of an earthquake today. That was fun.
Oh, down there in California?
Yep. It was short, it only lasted a few seconds, but it was enough to shake everything around a bit.
Right.
It was actually short enough I was worried that it was an explosion.
That is.
Was it while you were at work?
No, at home. But
Okay. I was gonna say at work that'd be a real problem.
Oh, absolutely. But this was I'm at home and all of a sudden the whole house starts to shake for a little bit. And when I say a little bit, I'm talking 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, done. A little bit. Very short.
Wow.
But no, they say it was an earthquake, so okay.
Alrighty. Wow. So we just got two new families now started watching the streams.
Say again?
My family has started watching the stream, so that's fun.
Yeah. Hello, Ace's family.
Yeah. It's my sister and brother. Well, older brother. I don't know. My little sister's up to probably trying to still get into a Japanese college. Because due to a tropical storm or something, her letter for getting in got delayed and ended up showing up the day after their cutoff date. So we're trying to talk with them. Oh, hey, welcome back. So we're trying to talk to them to like give her a bit of leeway on it, because like that wasn't something that like she could really like do anything about. Because like she sent it on the 18th priority mail. It's supposed to arrive on the 23rd, but then it got caught up in a storm or something, and so it didn't end up showing up till the 26th, and it was due on the 25th, which is sad. But other than that, welcome to session. How are you doing, Tara?
I'm alright. Like, how about y'all? What?
I'm doing okay. Doing all right.
How's school?
It's good.
Mm.
Let me pause the thing here. Like an actual intelligent person. Other than that, I believe last we left off, you guys had just made land. If I do so remember.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I forget the name of the person who made this. It was something Russian. That much. It was
just need
made
the
by
Headhunters Village and then the giant vault door on the grass hut, and this will be a Monkey Island map.
Yes, indeed. I probably butchered his last name, but yeah, that's the guy who made it. That you guys
So
made.
Whereabouts
did
the ship pull?
So where the ship is kind of port is kind of farther off, and you can see as per the dragons. And you guys kind of made landfall right at this dock that's right here. You guys can see that or not?
Okay. Yeah, I see your cursor.
For some reason, Twitch decided that it doesn't.
So they're parked somewhere out here or something, and then
so like right out there somewhere. Because they don't want to end up like this poor fellow over here. Yeah.
I wouldn't want to end up like that either.
Yeah, so you go ahead and make landfall, and the group in your rowboat to make sure that you guys actually made it here. They go ahead and once you guys are off, they take off the moorings and start rowing their sorry asses back out to the boat. There is a path leading into like this sort of village area. And it does have a couple of dragons lining it, but they don't appear to really be aggressive. They seem to just be kind of eyeing you curiously. Some of the older looking ones appear to be looking more at pathos than most of the others.
Hey, to the players, I'd like it's been a minute. So maybe we talk for a minute about what we came here because we saw this island noted in the journal in the bunker we were in, and I think there was some other reason, because the dude with the dog skull face said that we should come here. Are those the two reasons we're trying this place?
From what I can remember and what my notes say, yes.
Yeah, I do also believe that was what it was, because the dog skull guy, Rock, said that you'll probably find some of your answers here. It's noted in the journal that they came here at one point. Other than that, the only mentions of Dragon Isle were about how dangerous it was and about the falling out, because it was thought that somebody had assassinated the Dragon King, pissed off the dragons for good reason.
Wait, who do they think assassinated the Dragon King?
They don't know for certain. It's just that they think that it was one of the human civilizations.
Hmm. Okay, they're all looking at me. I'm gonna look for the watermelon-looking dragon.
The watermelon dragon. He is like farther into the past, standing on where the ground begins to dip down into a like sort of burrow of some kind.
Okay. Hey, what do you think, guys? Should we go talk to him first? He was the one that sort of talked to us and granted us passage.
Without knowing any better, sure.
All right. Pathos will lead the way, I guess. Past
So
the
the
other,
go ahead.
yeah, just past the other dragons. Pathos begins walking down that way.
So
And
sorry, was there more? I'm just gonna shut up and.
nope.
Okay.
No, do your thing.
All right. So as you pass, all right. So as you pass, any sort of doubts of like some of them like eyeing you specifically kind of passes. They most definitely do follow you as you lead the group. Some of the other ones kind of like pan over the rest of the group. They look to be some of the younger dragons. Probably ones that were born like the last like century or two. Other than that, once you get up to the watermelon dragon, he looks down at you guys and then turns around and walks in it and walks into the burrow, kind of moving his head in a motion to follow him.
Oh, okay, sure. Let's follow him.
So you follow him into the burrow, and then standing at the back of it, over a large glittering hoard of gold and treasures, is a large ancient blue dragon. And if I could get this thing to do something, hold on. I forget shortcuts again, but this large ancient blue dragon looks at you, and it steps off of its large hoard, and it opens up its mouth, and you hear it speak. So, why have you come here?
Greetings. I am Pathos, the pyroplasmically animated technological humanoid, Mark 05. Pathos. These are my companions, Iona and Pardis. We have been
And Schnichten's
chosen-
face.
Nick.
And Schnick for short in space. And Schnick for short. We were chosen to decide which gods will remain and which will be banished for the next cycle.
Do you have any memory of being here before that one?
Do I?
No, you do not.
When I say so, I say I do not. This is the first time I can recall being here.
All right. Well, and it may yet return to you in time. So, you are here for the selection, I take it, as you've said. Are there any questions that I may answer for you?
It takes the party a little while to think about this because nobody's ever actually, up until this point, said that they were going to answer any questions. So it takes a minute. There's some small discussions among the group until somebody, probably Pathos, speaks up.
Well, Pathos is actually, he goes very quiet and starts thinking about other things, and is uncharacteristically silent in this moment. He's very much taken aback by the idea that he has been here before and someone might him.
Okay. So since he went silent, Pardus, in his slow and deliberate and rather chaotic way, decides to just pipe up and go, well, I do have a few questions if you are willing to answer them.
I am.
He opens up his book and proceeds to read, just from the top in no particular order. First of all, why? Of all the beings in the universe, why have we been chosen? Is there some sort of reason that we would be picked in order to do this seemingly impossible task?
She sits back. You can see her kind of pondering her answer to this. And then she goes ahead and leans back forward and she's that is quite a complicated answer. I guess that the shorthand of it would be that it would be interesting to watch. The previous group wasn't so much selected as they fell in. Perhaps you have a connection to what the previous one was about. Just by the way, do you happen to know if it was actually for?
You broke up there at the end. Do we happen to know what?
What the previous selection was actually for?
That I do not.
Well, none of you probably know about the whole mix of it past how teleportation magic works. Would you happen to know the greater theory behind time and space and dimensions and so on and so forth?
I mean, I've got a pretty high arcana, do I? Is he talking about the multiverse?
Yeah, you do have a general understanding of it. I would go ahead and say like through reading the journals and all that, because that was in the journals. I don't know if you took a note on that or not.
Okay. And now, are we talking about the D&D multiverse as it's generally presented, or does your world have something else?
Just multiverse string theory as it's generally presented in sci-fi.
Oh, okay. All right. So less about like the prime material plane, the plane of fire, the astral plane, the ethereal, all that shit, and more about like
Like
every
there
decision
are,
creates a new universe in the multiverse kind of thing.
yeah, and like that, like there's like a whole bunch of different ones, and like it would take a enormous amount of like energy or just effort in order to be able to move laterally between two of them.
Mhm. Gotcha. Like, okay, so like DC Comics multiverse theory.
Yes.
Okay. Pathos speaks up. He says, I understand there are theories about a multiverse, that each decision creates a new uh, a new world. That travel between the two might be possible, but would require a tremendous amount of energy and knowledge that the general world does not possess.
I would suppose that Iona would know a little bit more about this.
Past planar dimensions, I don't know if that would be a part of your domain because you're more of the astral plane and justice and whatnot. And you do know about the guardians of the different planes, and you've heard mention of a gate guardian which guards all the different planes and like this world in general, but you aren't sure as to what else he guards past that because there seems to be like something for that. So like you might have a inkling surrounding it, but like you wouldn't have like a very good grasp of it.
Okay.
So going off of what Al just said, you would probably be able to understand that this concept, but like you probably wouldn't kind of like what he means by plane, because as far as you know, there's only a set amount of planes and they haven't grown or shrunk in forever.
All right.
Then after Pathos says that, nods, and she then continues. Yes, that is more or less what I mean. Now then, let's say that one were to be able to move between two of the lines by temporarily joining them. However, that they were not able to unjoin them in a sort of knot formed to where nothing could get in or out, and every action would instead feed back into that one instance. What might you say would happen?
So if two multiverses became entangled somehow,
Yeah, and then new ones weren't being made because they just fed back into the loop.
fate and free will would be at war, and fate would be winning.
You are
There would be no choice.
you are correct that multiple factors would be at war with each other. However, it would be more of a stalemate per se, and as energy rises within a container that is only set to hold a limited amount for eking it off, I guess that the easiest way to describe as to what happened within the first group was, let's say that you have a glass bottle and you seal it off and begin to fill it with water without breaking the seal, of course. and it fills up to full, but you don't turn off the hose. What would then happen to the bottle?
It would burst.
Indeed. So what the first group was for was in order to remedy that, one had to, of course, fix the knot. And as you might know, it's much easier to tie a knot than it is to unravel it. So what ended up becoming of it was a sort of war between the powers who were collecting the energy and the one who had stumbled into this realm. And through their adventures, they didn't so much untie the knot as more so loosen it. So I would say that your goal within this selection is to finish undoing the knot, if I were to take a guess.
How does choosing gods loosen an entanglement between two multiverses?
It would by your choices, you would then be setting in line one of many possibilities, and by choosing whether one is free or contained within two amongst the many gods that are here, it would be able to create enough instances within one sort of decision, because nothing would be decided until you went through with it at the final end of this, that in theory, the knot would either unravel itself since it is already loose, or we would all cease to exist. Either way, the problem is no longer a problem. And many disturbances would cease to happen.
I'm afraid I am not following this. Is he trying to say, so two universes, ours and another, have become entangled?
Yes.
Choosing which gods to be banished or not makes a choice between freedom and containment somehow.
So what she's saying is that when you finally decide and put in your like final choice, is that that decision would be able to carry enough weight and just sort of energy in order to finally like break the knot, because it's still like isn't fully undone, but the force of all of the radically different dimensions which would normally be formed by choosing as to which entities which govern the laws of the world would be able to change and control those laws would be enough of a force to fully disentangle the two.
Wait. So it's not even really about choosing the gods. It's trying to make a choice that carries enough consequence to essentially burst the seal.
Without shattering the glass, because what she's trying to say is that right now all of the smaller choices are currently filling it up and pushing out in all these different directions. So what she's saying is what your guys' sort of goal is to make one sort of just decision or like string of choices which would have enough force in just one direction to basically blow the top off without shattering the actual glass bottle.
Oh, okay. Got it. And how do we know direction causes release versus what direction causes destruction? Is that direction chosen by the gods we choose? Or is that direction determined by the gods we choose?
Does Pathos that? Is that Pathos asking?
Yeah,
All right.
Yeah, sorry.
It's fine. I was just.
I only have enough brain power to think about something this big, or do my character voice.
Yeah, fair enough. Understandable. It's. That is a bit more of a difficult question, as I do not quite know as to what decisions would force which directions. All I know is that they do force in certain directions and have a different power behind them depending on the weight of their consequence. You may perhaps meet the one that the other group met at the end of their journey, or close to at the very least, and he is known as the father of the Guardians, is what my people refer to him as. And he would be able to answer your questions much more accurately and fully. However, nobody has had contact with him since the knot became loosened, so it is also very likely that he may have been cast out into the void between dimensions.
Who was he, this father of the Guardians?
I guess it's more appropriate to call it but it was the watchman in a sense of all of the different worlds and creations which were made. And he in turn creates the guardians for each of the planes and realms within those dimensions. Much in the way that you can only enter planes on this world from certain points or by using certain spells, he governs that same principle amongst the weaves of the dimensional tree and creates those who do the more localized gates so that he has the time to deal with the larger matter.
So it seems like we've got two terms going. We've got planes of existence, which are like prime material plane, plane of fire, plane of the heaven, hell, etc. And that's all within a single dimension. And each dimension in the multiverse is your sort of classic, like there's probably a pathos out there with a mustache and one with an eye patch, sort of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm tracking so far. And the father of the Guardians You encounter the last heroes. He creates the guardians for each plane within the dimension and governs the laws of travel between planes. Does he also govern the laws of travel between dimensions? Or I guess we've
Yes.
established that might not. Okay.
Hey, Daddy, look what I did.
Okay, 1 second, bud.
And he just eating that. Well, this guy is eating. I'm not.
My friend asked why, or we were chosen. I will ask how. How did the dimensions become entangled?
One of the previous heroes, the one who the adventure was centered upon, in their search for a friend, had discovered a way of how to bypass the restrictions that the father had placed and managed to cross dimensions when one normally cannot. They did this a number of times, and upon stumbling into ours, which was still fairly new at the time, caused it to rebind to its creating vein, resulting in it not fully splitting and a loop to form. And the other heroes were more or less selected through her first iteration of running through here, of those that made a large impact on her travels.
Yeah, so this other hero was looking for a friend, was instead of using the highways, just sort of hopping over the lawns between dimensions. And that caused the dimensions to come together, and then she decided she was going to fix it, and in running around trying to fix it, she met the other heroes.
Yes. So, kind of like the taking away from, oh, this is like a dragon talking. In like layman's terms, basically what she said was that she hopped on in here and got stuck because it became a closed loop, so nothing could get in or out. And then her first sort of like run through it before the world basically cracked and shattered because it had too much energy in it. The ones who made the biggest sort of just effect on her, as she was now the center of it, were then the heroes, because they would continue to run into her in each of the new iterations of the world as she ran through this over and over again, trying to get back out of it without fully realizing that she was repeating fate over and over again with small variations.
I'm not following this. Like, what was she stuck in, like a time loop, like a Groundhog Day type thing?
Yeah, more or less.
Okay, so she goes through this loop again and again and again, because she's the one that she's the thing that bound the two dimensions together. And something about causing that to happen also put her in a time loop. Am I on it so far?
Yep.
Okay. And then each time she goes through, she meets people. She was meeting people, and they had the biggest impact on her, and that's how the last group of heroes was chosen?
Yes.
Is this someone we've met or someone we're going to meet?
She is not currently with us anymore. Since she loosened it, she was no longer trapped in a loop, and the first sort of just look upon it seemed that the problem had been fixed, as we had no way of knowing that it was not fully unbound until the energies began to collect back up, seeing as to how the father was not in contact with any of us that had a close connection with her, or even with her herself. So we all just thought that he had gone back to managing the other pockets.
So if she's someone we never met, and I look at Pardis, if she's someone we never met, and impact on her is what chose them, what sort of impact did we have on her, or is that even possible?
She kind of seems to be at a loss for words for quite a bit before she takes a deep breath, and she goes, well, I cannot say much for the others. However, you, Pathos, was it?
That is my designation.
You are more closely related to these events than you might think.
How is that?
A late husband, before the last iteration, the one before it, in an attempt to remember, as towards the end of their journey, he found out about the predicament that plagued this pocket, created himself a artificial body to maintain his memories from iterations past. And it worked in a sense. It did remain and contain his memories and personality from past iterations, but he would each time come back with a sense of amnesia, I guess is the best sense of the word.
Am I this leftover mechanical body, no longer useful now that these cycles are finished?
I do believe so, yes. You do carry the same markings. However, one of the goblins, I think it was a goblin, at least it said it was a goblin, was more of the eccentric type, and in the later days of our journey, he had built a warforge as well, and it struck a striking resemblance to the old vessel of my husband.
Wait, this was your husband? I thought this was the husband of the woman that was trapped going through time.
No.
Oh.
She was not married as far as I know. She was searching for a friend who had been hurtled through the dimensions in her first travels due to a betrayal, I believe she had said.
So this body was your husband's,
Indeed.
or perhaps the one created by this goblin.
Yes.
Is there a way to tell the difference?
Time may tell. There may still be some remnants of my husband's personality. You may have deja vu when visiting certain places that the other robot would not, as it was not so much personalized as more meant for communications and study of the world, so it cannot feel feelings. However, if you are the vessel of my late husband, you may have times where you feel not like yourself, where you feel closer to human or have strange sensory inputs that are unknown to you.
What was his name?
My God, where are my notes? I just had this like remembered, like, hold on. Because I'm trying to think of it, and all that's coming to my brain for some reason is the name of the actual player who played him.
Is it Carl?
It was not Carl. Carl's one of the goblins. And also Carl is alive and very much not dead.
Is he gonna be coming back?
And also, Carl's not a goblin anymore.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I forgot. Whoops. I spoiled something. Whoopsies.
Whoops.
Sorry.
No, that was on me. I'm trying to
Well,
remember.
only one thing will fix this.
Indeed. Let me see here. It should be somewhere in here. My God, my notes are a mess because I haven't used these in 3 years. Oh my Lord.
Make up a name.
I believe Raz was the name of the robot, though. Fuck. Oh, I just remembered. His name was Mikhail. I'm gonna actually type that up because I butchered it like a moron.
Mikhail. And what is your name?
My name is another thing that I didn't. Oh my god! Just bear with me here. I swear I know these names. Dela is my name.
I'm so sorry. I was chewing. What?
Dela is what she said that her name was.
Gotcha. Dela, he says. I'm going to ask you, Dungeon Master, do I feel anything looking at her?
As she is, she appears familiar. There is a little bit of anxiousness and fear behind the look at her. There is something else which kind of puts you at ease, but there does seem to be like some sort of connection.
Dela, you seem familiar, but I do not know how.
Both constructs had quite a bit of time within my presence. I would believe that even if they lost all record of me, that there would still might be something that remains.
Then I cannot say which one I was. What was the robot created by the goblin called?
Kamza. It was a name given by a, honestly, just deranged green football. Don't know if there's much meaning behind it.
I may have been Mikhail. I may have been Kamza. For now, I do not know. For now, I am Athos. And he looks kind of. He's just been standing stock still like the entire time, but he just looks back over at Pardis and says, "We have more pressing matters, more urgent questions."
I will try to answer all that I can. And she looks over at Pardis as well, following Pathos's gaze. Todd, I believe that you are up now if you have anything.
It was a lot to take in.
If you need a moment, it's completely understood. I'll just take it as shocked silence from the party.
So the next question, I guess, which I don't think has been answered, was so where do we go and what do we do to pick these gods that apparently are so important that if we don't do it, the entire universe gets destroyed and therefore everybody dies?
Only our dimension, I think, and the one we are entangled with. I do not believe the entire multiverse is threatened.
Didn't assume that. Said universe, implied this one, but
Oh.
I see where you're going with that.
Sorry. I thought I heard you say multiverse.
Either way, it still seems like a big deal.
It is a matter of scale.
I'm not sure why that would make much of
there
a
is-
difference.
Either way, we are all gonna die if it happens.
The definition of all can be different in different cases. All in this dimension are at risk, but the other dimensions are probably fine. This is good news.
Wonderful news.
Yes.
Good for them. Meanwhile,
How
what can we
lucky.
do?
All right. So, what I personally would believe is that there are several ruins of an older civilization that we traveled through. There may still yet be traces of some of the powers that had bound her here there, which then may lead you to glimpses or visions of what to do next. Which goes, I would say, just to follow as to what you think is best, unseal old relics, rituals, get in contact with patrons if you have such. And to what is going on? Is that me getting messages, or is that somebody else getting messages and just pinging through Discord?
Sorry,
That's
it's
oh yeah,
me,
it's
and I
fine.
put all of my Discord things on mute, and it's still going. It's making me so mad. I'm trying to mute it,
Damn.
so if I just mute myself, I'm still here, just blocking out Discord notifications.
All right, that's fine. And as far as gods go, I would say to search out the larger players still present. I believe Carl is still kicking somewhere, if you haven't met him as of yet. The general antagonist of our previous escapades was known as Uthgul, the god of tricks and shadows. If you manage to run into any four claimers, I would. So long as they still have their wits about them. It has been quite some time I've seen a powered one.
Hold on.
Yes?
Hold on. Yeah. Uthgul, we've heard that name before. He was the one. Didn't the Guardian in the Desert tell us about him?
I'm sorry, I just looked up what Todd posted. Let me see. I don't think he did. Because he just spoke in riddles, so I don't think he dropped like any names.
No, I think you mentioned Uthgul as like somebody who like lived in shadow but was defeated but was still somehow victorious.
Oh yeah. He didn't mention that. It just took me a minute because I was trying to think through all the different riddles that I had said.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, because I was also when like he had said. Yeah, because that's also like when the sand dude said, I believe it was, defeats have changed, no longer continue. Triumph was created when attempts were discontinued. I believe that's what he said. Immediately following that. Let's see.
All right, I'm putting this together. First of all, what was it Dela said about Uthgul?
That he was the main antagonist of their previous escapades.
Okay. That Sand Guardian said that victories were undone. So if the last band of champions did something that they believed like undid the cork, the entanglement that was keeping all the potential energy in. And then now we're here again to do it again. The way that the Sand Guardian was talking made it sound like something is responsible for that. Like it's not just it loosened, but like maybe somebody purposefully retightened it. It's like, okay, you know, if the previous group did a cool thing and it was good but not enough, then we'd have had language in the riddles like, you know, they only pushed so far. They pushed hard and it was great, and you know, for a time it was good, but it wasn't far enough. Now you have to take it the rest of the way. That would have been the language in his riddles. But his riddles were more like victories were undone, like stuff was canceled. So if Uthgul was the primary antagonist last time, maybe he's the one who's tightened things back down. What and yeah, I'll ask Dela. Was Uthgul banished? Was he among the gods that was banished?
If memory serves me correctly, I believe that he was. However, I can't be quite certain. I don't even know for sure as to what the final fix was. I know that in their final battle, a few of them were claimed by the God of Shadows. And that they had met with the father, and from there she had made a deal which appeared to have fixed, at least partially, from what we now know, the problem. And after that, it appeared that things had changed yet again, but for the last time, as far as I can tell. Those with great enough power can have a recollection of what was previous, so long as we do not expire for the end.
If he was banished, where do the banished gods go?
Into limbo, into a pocket that is both between dimensions, yet not. It's the same concept as the maddened maze, if you are familiar.
I am not. But what could something be done from limbo to undo what the old heroes did?
Normally, no, as it's a pocket dimension within a pocket dimension to put things as simple as they can. I know that doesn't explain it well enough, but it's enough to get the point across. However, since two folds are joined into one, it theoretically could make it either harder or easier to reach outside of the pocket.
By two holes being one, you mean because two dimensions are the same?
Yes.
What are some of the consequences of two dimensions being the same? Is there another Pathos? Is there another Pardis out there?
Perhaps there might be some of the same image with which mirror you in some manner or another, in which case it would follow the general rule of doppelgangers, so I would hope that you do not run into them.
Just speaking out of character for a moment, is this is a lot to grapple with. How are you all doing? What are we picking up here? So far, I've got that some silly person punched holes between dimensions, caused a time loop for herself, and caused two dimensions to like mush together and become entangled. This in turn caused all the potential power of different choices to get bottled up between these two dimensions and not be able to create other universes, other dimensions. They did something that loosened this so that I guess a little bit of that potential energy could get out. And what it almost sounds like what the rest of the world thinks they did was choose the gods, which ones could be banished and which ones couldn't. But Dela here is saying like maybe that's not it. Maybe that's not everything they did. But either way, the god of shadows, Uthgul, opposed them for some reason, killed some of the old heroes in their final battle, and was either banished or in some other way rendered neutralized. Is that about it, Ace?
Yeah, more or less.
All right. But now, some force has chosen us to finish untangling the knots. Finish untangling the knots, which may or may not have been retightened by something, based on what we know from the guardian in the desert, who may have some relation to the father of guardians, whose involvement in this I am still a little iffy on. Did anybody else get a little better grasp on what his involvement is?
Not really. You pretty much like got the basis of what I understand.
So, before we started asking questions, my little list of what we have learned consisted of 2 points. Point 1 was F the gods. Point 2 was that the god Poseidon did not help the previous group. That was all. I have since added 15 more points, and you basically just covered it in the brief summation that you have there. And that's apparently all I've got.
Would you
Okay.
be interested in sharing that? Because I'm currently typing up my own version.
And I would love to have whatever your guys' versions are, so then like I can then reference that back for some other stuff, because that might not match my notes, and I want to try and reflect that within RP.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so it sounds like the final guardian is God damn it. Sorry, the final guardian is something in my own world. The father of guardians. I'm sorry, Ace, but he's going to get called the final guardian a bunch by me.
I mean, it's fine.
It's it's a thing in a superhero world. Anyway, the father of guardians is the piece that we don't. If we've grasped everything else all right, he's the piece that we don't really grasp. So that's who we should probably ask about next, because all I got about him is that he sets up the guardians of the different planes of existence within a dimension and governs the rules by which travel between both between planes and between dimensions are governed. So the one who started this probably pissed him off, but it sounds like they came to some kind of understanding if they pulled some kind of fix.
Yeah.
But again, I don't know a lot about his involvement, so he's probably who we should ask about next.
There was mention, I don't know if people caught it because there's a lot of info dump here, but Dela had mentioned that he hasn't been in contact with anybody since they had done the fix, and that could mean that he's either off working on other things because he's not needed here anymore to finish fixing it, or that he got cast off into who knows fucking where between dimensions and is currently lost to time and space.
So is there only one then? Like only one between dimensions? Because I kind of got the sense that he was like there'd be one for each dimension, or is there only one at all?
So from what Dela said, her words were that he's the one who makes all of the guardians for each dimension, but that he's kind of the big like final stop if like you want to move from like one branch to another. But then for each of the different pockets, he then makes all the guardians of like all the planes and stuff that's within there for like moving while in there, but like he handles the bigger picture.
Just speaking kind of on a tangent here, I wonder, because you can imagine pretty quickly what the fire plane guardian or the guardian of the plane of water is going to be, or plane of earth, or even like astral and ethereal plane guardians, and some of those more esoteric ones. I wonder what a prime material plane guardian would be, because like that's the confluence of the way D&D cosmology works. The prime material plane exists out of the interaction of all the other planes. Like it's where all those things, the influence of all the other planes kind of come together. Anyway, just a thought.
You might find out at some point.
I might find out. It might be me. So yeah, part is I've been doing a lot of talking. So if you or Iona want to ask about the final guardian, God bless it, the father of guardians.
You can call him whatever you want because the father of guardians is just the title that Dela's people call him by. Like he has many other titles if you want to call him or something else.
I will leave that to you.
Honestly, I'm happy just trying to retain information.
Yeah, I kind of have to agree. We've got enough now. I mean, we could try to plumb the total depths of this particular rabbit hole, but I think this is enough to at least know what's going on.
Do
What your little list say about what to do next?
Do we as
Yeah.
a group have any way that we could like communicate with this Dela again?
Is there a way for you to be able to communicate with her again?
Yeah, because say that we don't want all of the information currently, possibly we could get more later on.
Well, outside of coming back here again, you can ask her if like she has something like that in character. I mean, are you asking that in character, or is that just like directed at me at the moment?
Yeah, that was directed at you at the moment, but now it's going to be a character.
All right, go. Blow my mind.
I clear my throat to talk in my same voice, but yeah, it's fine. So you wouldn't happen to have any sort of way that we could reach you again?
If any of you know any of the magics for communications across long distances, I can of course return it. If you happen upon one of the dragons that still live out within the world, as there are still a few, you may also reach me through that way, or if you figure out that you are indeed the Kamsa, I believe that the green football built into his contraption a way of how to communicate with all members of the party so long as we were living. Outside of that,
What you are saying? So you are saying, I will be more. I am not your husband.
my husband built a much better contraption than what that war-torn buffoon made.
This is not Pathos laughing. This Pathos is being an unempathetic buffoon, but I am laughing my ass. That was great.
I'm glad that you liked it.
Pathos remains silent and contemplates this. But Iona, that's a really good idea. Because even if it's not like a question we want to ask her, we might want to like send her information, like new information we get.
Yeah, I was
Because
just
you might be
thinking
able to.
it's like a good way to. We just should probably be able to talk to her.
Yeah, she might be able to like help us interpret what we're looking at, or like something we say, something else she knows.
Is there a guy in the chair?
Yeah.
Yeah. She does sit and ponder for quite some time after her little outburst. And then she goes, well, I guess that my daughter could use another trip out in the world as she hasn't had a chance to leave since her father died.
Oh no. Are you sending the daughter with her robot dad that doesn't remember her?
Perhaps.
Well, Pathos asks, how large is your daughter?
She was born close to the end of the last adventure, so she's only about...
Is she roughly the size of a horse?
She just kind of looks at you. She says, I hope that you are not...
My companion is an expert. My companion is an expert rider. She could use a mount that can fly and shoot lightning from its mouth.
She just looks at you and she goes, I believe that you might have been built by the football, because there was no way that my husband, even if he had forgotten his memories, would say such things about his own daughter.
Out of character, I love this.
I suppose we shall see.
Yes, I suppose we shall.
I will adjust the likelihood of my origins to reflect. Okay, so a little abacus.
Ding, ding,
ding, ding. It had like 5 and 5, and then he like adjusts 2 over to the left.
That's 7 and 3.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. But
I do not see the problem. A warrior riding a dragon is very efficient.
But for a dragon, there is... She just kind of looks at you and it's like, well, for a dragon, being written is for the ones that are domesticated. It's not quite fitting for a princess to be ridden into battle.
Fitting. He kind of looks over at Iona, does some mental calculation about the size of her legs. He says, I do not think geospatial dimensions are going to be an issue.
It would seem that the processing mechanism is either damaged or that the football decided to use a potato. Either way.
You see,
I assure you, my brain is not a potato. It is a highly sophisticated.
It is a highly
like,
sophisticated lemon.
He's not saying that because it is a lemon.
it's an electric.
It is he's not saying that in like an insulted way. He's just like an informative one.
Okay. Wow.
Anyway,
that was amazing.
I'm just gonna stop there. Like that's enough of that.
Todd. But she will go ahead and say, moving on from that topic, I would rather you instead try and find the ruins, and we will work on getting ours connected to those. I believe that the football, one of his only useful actions, outside of disappearing to chase kobolds, which did not exist off in the distance, so I wouldn't have to look at them anymore, managed to restore some of the older facilities that belong to the ancients, so that they may communicate with one another again, and he did the same for a lot of the foreclaimer rooms.
Oh yeah, speaking of, that's kind of why we're here. Somebody want to cover the ruins thing with her?
So far, you seem to have it. Again, Pardis isn't really the technical one of this group, so you're talking technical stuff. So go right ahead.
Which is normally you or Schnicht. So
yeah. Okay. So he'll say, indeed, we discovered and began to recover the ruins of some of the ancients on the main continent, and found a journal stating there are other ruins here. Is that true? And if so, do you know where they are?
well, there are other ruins. We have one located here on the island. It has been gutted quite a while ago, and we merely use it for if one of the other ones tries to communicate with us. It's the only way that we talk with the outside world, or with our other fringe groups. As for where the locations of others are, I cannot say for certain, other than the ones that are currently in use by my brothers and sisters.
We would like to see these ruins. If I see how they function, I can get ours functional once more, and then we can use it to speak with you. Perhaps we can also communicate up to other ruins and ascertain their locations.
Oh, all right. If you would like to see the one that's on the island, I can arrange that for you. However, it may take a little bit to prepare it. It is currently in use by Bartholomew. He is currently using it more as a laboratory than its intended purpose. I did not care, for we did not have a use for it. The others are more than capable of fending for themselves. And to be honest, the football lives in one, so I would much rather not have to be reminded of him, if I can help it.
What was the football's actual name?
What was it again? Boomer? Something stupid like that.
Oh no.
Yeah, Tara knows.
Oh gosh. I was 5 seconds ago gonna be like, no, I'll still call him football. And then he said it was boomer. I'll just call him idiot. How about that in my notes?
Yes. Or brother. That also works
Yeah,
in your case.
brother works too. Gosh.
I mean, we may as well go see this thing then.
The football?
You see my brother?
Well, that's on the list. Because if he made me, then he can tell me so. And if he didn't, he can tell me that too.
If he's alive, because he's a goblin, it's been 500 years.
She just said he's alive and living in one.
She just said that she knew that he was alive, but that she doesn't want to be reminded of him, so she doesn't go into the ruins.
Okay. Got it. My mistake. Now
Understandable.
There's a lot of weird shit going on around here. Goblins turning into elves. Maybe he turned into an elf. All right, so I guess we head to these ruins.
Alrighty. To prepare. So she will also go ahead and offer you some stay for the night, and that you can send out somebody to let the boat know that you will be staying a little bit longer. If that is what you guys would like.
That works for me.
Yes.
All right. So I feel like that's a pretty good place to stop session for tonight. I feel like that's more than enough info to try and sort through for the next week or so.
Yeah, that was a lot. I have here a note that I was either made by some kind of grand inventor or a stupid green football. Which is great.
One of the two.
One of the two. Either way.
Either way, it's going to be fun.
Either way, it's going to be great.
Yeah. We had some laughs. We had some minds breaking. Wow, my brain, it
I
hurts.
don't know how you're holding up, but I'm a potato. What's that from, Jeff?
Portal 2.
That's correct.
Alrighty, thanks everybody for stopping by. If you ended up stopping by the stream, and if you're here for the video recording of it afterwards, thank you for stopping by again.
Yeah.
And have a good one. See y'all next time that we meet.
Whoa! Before you turn it off, hold on.
Okay, go ahead.
I want to see if anybody's said anything.
Oh, on stream? We had
I thought the same. Boy Bongo, I thought the same thing.
Hey Ty, how you doing, buddy?
I forget that you'll watch the stream. Like, wow, it's happening.
Yeah.
Holy shit. All right, cool. Our first fan. I love it. Yeah, I'm sorry, Dungeon Master. I just want to give my own little shout out.
Yeah, no, it's totally fine. You do also have like mod privileges as well, so carry that with a weight of responsibility or the fuck, I don't really know. But yeah, thank you for stopping by.
Stupid.
I don't know. I got ideas.
Good night,
Um,
folks.
Good night.